Hi there guys, this is Blaze back in with another video. Hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today I figured to do the Executioner. The Executioner isn't the most powerful or meta frigate, but I've been having a lot of good success with it just cause it has such a large engagement profile. A lot of people want to fight it, similar to an Atron. But in this current meta with like a lot of webs and like a lot of range control heavy ships, it does suffer. You can still outrange or what's it called, range control some stuff yourself, but a lot of stuff like the dual web Marylands, Kestrels, dual web Tormentors you can just warp away from. This kind of stuff will give you a real problem. Now you're probably thinking, why pulses as opposed to beams? My thinking was, beams kind of force you into basically keeping that range on stuff, right? Like say you keep 7.5k, so you're maximizing your tracking. As opposed to pulses where you can do both that, like keep at range with Scorch, and you're still getting 11k optimal with decent-ish DPS. Or we can switch to multi-frequency and orbit close and get underneath people's guns. You'll see in the next upcoming videos that this is great against like our like Tormentors and stuff. Where if we were in a beam Executioner, you'd have like no chance of fighting one of those because it'd just basically be a like out DPS, and basically the Tormentor will always come out on top in that. But yeah, I'm also running Exile of this, and I chose the Overclocker just to give me a little extra speed. We can disengage if needed, or perhaps give us that little bit extra speed required to range control certain stuff. Like say like an Atron or something like this. But yeah, I think that about covers everything that's interesting about this. I used to give pulses a real hard time, but I've got kind of a soft spot for them now after I've been using them more often. Like a 11k optimal with like a short range weapon is pretty sweet, man. You're still getting about like 150-ish DPS with the implants I'm running. With Scorch, which is pretty gnarly, man. So yeah, just know that Scorch reaches out to 11k, that's great. But also to add, when orbiting close, you want to orbit say like 2k or 2.5. I usually orbit about 2k. If you orbit say like 1k or 500, you're probably going to start hurting your own tracking. But you'll see that in upcoming videos. So enough talking, lads, let's get on to the fights. Okay, in this fight against the Atron, basically I go in looking to pull range. I start with multi-frequency just in case he has more range control than me, he keeps up with me. Just so that if I'm forced to brawl, but since I see that I've pulled range here, and I'm a bit faster than him, I switch to Scorch. And that's pretty much me chill, man. If he ends up switching to Null, it could be a bit dicey for me, because Atrons do have the range bonus. But as it stands now, if it's too little too late. If he hasn't done by now, we're going to do this. I also overheat Scram just to make sure he doesn't leave, because I know this fight's going to be over relatively quickly. Okay, here I have a fight against a couple of Cursuses. And Cursuses shouldn't be too much of a problem unless it's maybe like a dual web one that you warp into, in which case if you see no Scram, just warp out. So if you can't pull range from using Cursuses, you're going to die very quickly. But this is a dual rep one now, there's too common. You should have no problem range controlling this fellow. I killed a drone, just to make sure that he does no DPS to us. So if you keep out at 8k, he can escape if he needs to, right? So just keep an eye on that if you keep out this far. And be prepared to overheat the Scram. The reason I keep at 8k as opposed to something a bit more chill like 7.5 is Null can actually still like graze and stuff out to 7.5k. So if you keep out at 8k, you should be pretty fine to get rid of out completely of his blaster range. And that's exactly what we do. Once we kill his drone, he shouldn't be doing any DPS to us. Like, these dual rep and curses last a long time. I've sped up the footage in this one, and the next one. They're just so tanky, they're so annoying though. Because like you see, it lacks range control, just can't do any DPS to us. Although, I was very interested with this kind of dual rep and curses. This dual rep and curses has MWD and long point. And you'll see how this, like, behaves, right? So same tactics apply. I like to kill the drone. And then I'm just going to chill at 7.5k. I should have maybe pulled out a bit further, like I did with the previous one. I didn't, because I think I was overconfident at this point. So you can see at this range, 7.5k, you can see he's still getting the little occasional hits with Null. So at this point, I was actually hoping to break him. I do at this point end up deciding to bring that, or keep that a bit further out. As I noticed, I'm tanking quite heavily here. And then I'm like, oh dear, there's a long point. I was thinking that he was going to be AB fit and I could escape, so I wasn't too concerned about the long point. But the addition of the MWD makes this actually very, very scary fit. So you'll see once I know that things are going south for me, like my caps becoming a problem, I'm going to die eventually here. He's slowly going to whittle away at me. Actually, now that I think about it, I should have maybe just like stopped reps and shot him, conserve cap. Because if I was sitting at 8k, I could have maybe survived. But you'll see that I try and escape. I burn out my web, and it's looking pretty dire now. Every time I try and escape from him, like I scram off his MWD, pull range back. He can just add his MWD and keep up with me. So this is quite a neat little fit I've never seen any Curses do before, and it freaks me out, man. So that's the thing about the the dual rep AB in Curses, that you can just run away from it if needed, but you'll see just because of the MWD, you can always catch up with us, which is an absolute nightmare for me, man. I'm trying to escape, like, I'm trying my heart out to escape here, but it's just not happening. Cap is, like, definitely just an issue. I can't DPS him down, he's tanking perfectly fine. The MWD isn't affecting his cap too much. So, and yeah, we end up going down. Okay, this Merlin's gonna be, like, Merlins in general are probably gonna be very hard for you unless it's like an AB web, a medium shield extender, but most Merlins these days are either dual web shield or dual web armor. This is a dual web armor one. I don't move at the start here, but I wouldn't have done too much for me. I should have done conflag or multi-frequency as we try to like pull range, as opposed to Scorch. But you'll see how quickly we go down, man. I don't think it would have made a difference. So just be aware, dual web Merlins are bad. If it's like no scram, warp off. Okay, here we have a fight against Lasker. He's in one of these mad battle mulses. I was maybe expecting some like dual webs or something, but I believe this was just a shield extender AB web scram. And unfortunately for him, we have range control here. So I pull out to 8k expecting some form of dual webness or like blasters or something, and I want to get out of the range of that. So I use Scorch and pull my range out. We're still doing a lot of DPS, and he goes down very quickly. This Mollis, I believe, was like quite ganky as opposed to tanky. So yeah, he does do work though for sure. He gets his does allow us to tank quite a bit, but we pull through. Okay, here we have a fight against a Tristan. I make a lot of mistakes in this fight. But basically, I start off fighting Tristans using Scorch just to test out their newt fit. So keep at like 7.5k or 8k out of most like T1 newt range. If you don't see any newts, bring your keypad to like 2k, 2.5k, and switch to conflag or multi. I'm always torn between using multi or conflag. You notice I make the mistake of switching to wrong ammo there, Scorch. We were keeping at 5k as opposed to 2.5 or 2k. So that's the two mistakes I make in this fight. Regardless of this, it's still pretty close, man. I burn out AB as well. Mistakes were made. Don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes, alright? Be a better PvPer than I. But nevertheless, man. This is a good GF. Still very close little fight. Yeah, GF, man. Okay, here we have a cool little fight against the meme Heron and a Slicer. First and foremost, this is against Rugal. He's a cool PvPer, man. I've always good fight against him. This is very sped up, but basically what happens is he doesn't have enough buffer and we end up going through him. At the start, I start with conflag. Keep him at range. But the newt forces me off, and then I switch to Scorch, which ends up finishing it. Despite the crazy tank that he has, we end up falling through him just because he's, like, you know, doesn't have too much EM resistant or EM or thermal resistances. So I'm chilling about. I get my loot. I'm happy. And then we end up seeing a Slicer on D-scan. So basically what I'm thinking is, alright, I need to get this guy before he pulls range. I've used all my heat, so that's a problem. Usually you want to heat all this before you like approach and then get this ram. But I got a tracking penalty on my drug, my exile, so you'll see this is actually quite a tough fight once I catch him. Usually with like something close range and brawly like this, if you catch a Slicer, you're good. But no, he has like almost as good as tracking as me, right? He's using pulses. We don't have a tracking bonus, and I have the tracking penalty. So this is a very drawn out fight of cap management and basically just trying to track. I start off orbiting out far, and then I start bringing it in a bit closer just to like, you know, help with my tracking and hope that I land better hits than him. We do eventually end up breaking through him, but this was very worrisome for me. This is like any tanked Slicer. It's just like a KD Slicer. So yeah, that tracking penalty on the exile really done us dirty. But after a long goddamn time of me trying to manage my cap, you know, just using that cap to like slightly rep up just in case it gets an awkward good like smashing or wrecking hit. Always need to keep on top of that. And yeah, just hoping that doesn't come along. We get some good hits, and yeah, we do eventually take it. So GF boys, GF. Okay, so here we have 3 fights just to close out against 3 tormentors and what you sort of want to do to deal with them. I always orbit them into 2.5k, get sort of underneath their beams, and we get decent-ish enough tracking with our pulses. This is basically what favored me to use pulses as opposed to beams, so we could pull something like this off, like kill like tormentors and stuff. So he goes down very quickly. If it's a dual web tormentor, which are quite popular, just warp out, right? There's no way you should be able to take one of those. So as soon as you see the dual webs and like start taking big hits, get yourself out. But even though we get out of your guns, you'll see that some of these fights are still super dicey. So it's not like 1 or 100%. If they get some good wrecking hits on you, it'll be very dicey for you, but you'll still see you should be able to sort of come out on top. Just with your small seg and your decent-ish speed. You're still doing relatively good DPS with our multi. We can usually come out on top. But again, man, just like keep in mind for those dual web ones and pulse tormentors. A pulse tormentor probably very dirty too. So tormentors tend to have the better tank and DPS just because they have the addition of the 2 drones. If they did have the 2 drones, you're basically doing the same DPS, but it's just those extra 2 drones that add it. And that extra are low, right? Like usually run like either for more speed or resistances. But yeah. Nevertheless, you get good fights out of tormentors. They're always like, you see how much hull damage you take. They're always usually relatively quite close. But good fights, GF boys. Okay, that's all the fights I had for you guys today. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I had a good bit of fun with this tormentor. It's not as what's it called? Like I said, meta. You all get a few losses here or there just cause of the current meta is, you know, everyone's keen for the dual webs. I'd be a hypocrite if I said I didn't. So, you know, I'm not gonna give anyone grief. Dual web range control is good to run solo, just so you can disengage if you know the fleet is coming, or you can just dip if things are going south. So I don't blame people for running the dual webs, but yeah, it just makes it a bit harder for this executioner to get do what it does. But nevertheless, we still got some good fights, right? So yeah, boys, I'm gonna leave yous. Enjoy the rest of your evening, day, regional equivalent, and I do hope to catch you guys in the next one.